What is this? Oh, all these new things on Instagram all the time. Hey, everybody. It's the DC Fashion Fool, your man about DC, out and about today. I'm with Bruce Allen.
What's up, guys?
I'm going to be on his podcast. I'll send some details out and follow along, and it should be a good day. Save it. I don't post right away.
Oh, you don't post right away?
No, it's not good. Well, for guys, it doesn't really matter, but for women, it's pretty bad sometimes because, you know, it tells people where you are immediately. Oh. And there's been some cases where like people have been stalked and stuff like that. And it's really interesting because I don't know, maybe last summer I was out with one of my friends and we were going to different events. It was really cool. And she's like, we can't leave. I'm like, well, we're late for something. She's like, oh, one of my followers is coming to meet me. And I'm like, do you know her? And she's like, no. I'm like, it could be some 80-year-old man who wants to rape you or something like that. You should never, like, even if you're like.
But that seems kind of nice, though, to like meet her follower.
Right. If you know them, if you've talked to them, you know, like if I didn't know you and you just text me out of the blue and like come meet me, you could be like, I don't know, some mass murderer or something like that.
That's so true.
So you gotta kind of have to think about that sort of stuff. I mean, it's cool to meet your followers and that's great, but you also have to do it with a bit of caution. Plus it also says like, all right, I'm at this party, we're having fun. Nobody's at my house, go rob it, you know, stuff like that. You gotta think about stuff like that.
I never thought about that. Like you're literally broadcasting your whole day. Like I'm here, then I'm here, then I'm here. And so,
even if you're like 15 minutes off, you know, so, you know, and I mean, unless you're hosting an event.
Wait, have you been stalked?
Not like that, but yeah, but you know, and I don't so much worry for me as like some of my female friends, and it's just like, you know,
yeah, you're a big dude. You could definitely take someone.
You guys got to be kind of careful about that. And she's like, oh, she could be fun, and it turns out she was fine, and you know, we met her, but you just don't know.
So, but you've had a friend who's been like brutally stalked.
There was a case about that. Like if you Google it, you can.
Yeah, I mean that seems like something reasonable that would happen.
It's kind of creepy.
I'm not gonna lie. I had a stalker once, and I was very flattered. I was kind of stoked about it.
Yeah, it could be in a good way, but if it's in a bad way, you just don't know.
I think if you're a dude, you're like, oh, why not, dude? So I was in college. I was freshman year. I had this girl, she was my like stalker. She would leave me notes, and in the notes, she would draw me as a Harry Potter character. Like she'd draw me as a Harry Potter character and like write me a love letter.
And then that freak you out at all?
No, not really. Because I was like, maybe she's hot.
I had one in college too. This girl used to like follow me around, and she used to send me notes, and she would say, "Oh, I saw you walking with your friend Becky." I'm like, how do you even know her? You know what I mean? And it was no big deal, but still, it's just like, it's bizarre. So you just imagine if you're like a real celebrity, you know, that, you know, millions of followers and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, you see all the time. And that's kind of.
You really can't be like, especially when you have like, oh wait, real quick. What's up, guys? Welcome back to That's the Angle. And today I'm joined with Barnette, AKA DC Fashion Fool.
Hey.
But back we were saying, if you have like tens of thousands of followers or like you do, or some other highly cluttered up individuals, then it's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's not so much. I don't even think I have that many compared to like if I have 100,000 or a million or something like that. You just don't know. You just don't know with people. It's just an interesting time now, you know.
After a level doesn't even matter. Like how many followers? I feel like after you pass like 10K, kind of just is just like, okay.
No, it still matters. I think, you know, with. If you call yourself an influencer or whatever you call yourself, I don't know what they are.
What do you call yourself?
I guess I'm an influencer. I don't know. Some dude that has an Instagram account. You know?
Cringe. No, but you actually are though. Like seriously, like you're a bona fide like hashtag influencer.
I don't know, because I mean, I look at like I have some friends that have, you know, 100,000 followers, and I'm like, they're an influencer. But you also have to look at, you know, what does influence mean? I mean, you know, you could have 5,000 followers and every single person comments on your stuff. That's a lot of influence. So
depth, that's like depth, not width, right there.
So it's like, you know, it's all about the engagement. It's all about, you know, what you're actually doing, because there's so many ways to game. If you're just talking about Instagram, there's so many ways to game the system, and you could have hundreds of thousands of followers and nobody's really engaging with you or seeing what you're doing. So is that influence? Probably not.
Yeah, but we all know what those people look like. They've got 100,000 and they got 2,000 likes on a photo, and they get 2 comments, and you're just like, all right, like you're not a real influencer. Come on.
But though brands and other people look at that and it gets them.
But you have real influence. Like you
sometimes,
are like,
yes,
like
sometimes
what you
no.
do is very real. Like it feels very authentic. Like,
well, I try to be. It's harder though, because I think that, when I first started, it's like, I'm going to put up a picture. It'll be cool. No big deal. And then, it's fun. And then all of a sudden you have these brands like, hey, we'll give you stuff if you post it. I'm like, hey, that's cool.
That's how it started for you?
A little bit more. Like I said, all right, what's this Instagram thing? So I started an account and I would just go around and I'd be like, okay, I'm at, I don't know, some store. I'm like, look at these clothes. Are they cool? I post it and, get like 5 likes and whatever. I was just like, that's not great, but it was fine. And it was fine for me. But I was writing. I talked my way into doing some fashion writing.
Did you know what you were doing at that point? Like, did you know that you were like...
Had no clue, and I didn't even know I was writing about fashion. I was making stuff up, but apparently it was doing really well. So I was writing for these online publications, and then I wasn't really busy at work because I work full time. And but I'm really busy now because I don't want to get fired. No.
So, but you're not a full time blogger.
No.
When we talked previous to this interview, I assumed you were.
No, I just try to make it seem that way. No, I have a full-time job.
You're smart. You're a responsible smart.
I kind of like health insurance, and I actually sort of like my job. When
you're in health insurance?
No, I like having health insurance. But I like, I kind of like what I do. It's kind of fun, So.
Could you do it? Like, if you really want to, could you?
Not at my level now. I'd have to be making a lot more money, because there's a lifestyle you come accustomed to.
But like, could you like live off of your blogging stuff?
Now, no, definitely not.
Oh, because of your current lifestyle situation.
Yeah,
but like you could go back to like renting it with roommates and probably make it happen, right?
I don't know about that.
Well, I think it's interesting because everyone always wonders, like, and I'm not going to ask you like just exactly how much you make.
It depends on. I think for some people, it depends on what you want to get out of it. Like some people, like I want to be an influencer. I want to quit my job. I want to do it full time. And I don't know, maybe you want to do that or not, but you kind of have to think, what's the long run plan? I mean, if you're going to be an influencer, does that mean you're going to always sit around and take pictures of yourself and say, hey, buy this product? I mean, you have to think long game. If you watch, I don't know if you've seen it, the Netflix show, American Meme.
Yeah, I saw that.
But if you think about it, I mean, the ones that are like successful, you think about the Fat Jew. I mean, Instagram is not their only thing. It's babe, wine now. If you think about,
it's like diversifying.
You think about Paris Hilton and all of her stuff she sells. It's not just Instagram. So it's not just that kind of influence.
She was like the first internet celebrity.
Right. True. Yeah, but still, I mean, it's not like. It's not like that's the only thing they're going to do.
But to say you just want to be a hashtag influencer on Instagram, I think it could maybe be shallow. Not in your ambitions, but like it's like hashtag influencer on Instagram. But it's like, no, you should be thinking bigger, I guess, is what you're trying to say.
I think you have to think realistically. Okay, so think about last week or what was it, Thursday when Instagram went down.
Dude, that was insane. That was last. That was Thursday. That was Thursday. Yeah,
so if all your basket is in Instagram, what do? What happens? Like you have to have something.
Think of how screwed all those people who had probably had brand deals.
Exactly.
People that had to post. Like even I was so flustered. I couldn't post a story. I couldn't like show people where I was. I couldn't drop this epic like post I had saved.
See, so I always, a lot of people a lot of the successful people, yeah, they're going to concentrate on Instagram and some do really well. And I think right now it's a really good medium, but think how fast Instagram grew and think about, and I'll just say it, just think about MySpace. What happened to that? Think about Vine, who were the people that were really, really big on Vine. And all of a sudden Vine is gone. You know what I mean? So I can't,
but I think MySpace was also at a transitional point of the internet. Like that was like early premature internet. Instagram feels like almost mature internet where nothing could really compete with it at this point.
Right. But you have to think how fast technology moves. So you have to think that, 20 years from now, people are like, oh, you remember that Instagram thing? You know what I mean? There's going to be there's more likely going to be something else.
Probably.
And so, it might not even be 20 years. It could be 5 years. It could be 2 years, So there's always something that's going to come along. It's going to be an aging thing after a while.
Look at Facebook. Facebook's practically dead right now.
Like, what did they say? It's the place for retirement people and stuff like that, So yeah, it's good. And I say that if you can take advantage of it, take advantage of it. But you have to be aware that there's other things that are coming along. And also you have to be able to like own your own content. So what happens if Instagram goes away? You've got hundreds of pictures, thousands of pictures up there, and all of a sudden, I don't know, somebody pulls the plug and it's gone.
Like if last Thursday it got deleted.
You can't get any of that stuff back if you don't have something else. You know what I mean? So even if I have a blog and I try to update that a lot, and I try to write about that, because if something happens, I own my own content, so I can kind of, even though it's hosted.
You write like multiple times a month. If not,
I try. Well, it depends on what's going on, and depends on what I'm doing, and I'm trying to do some different things. So yeah, I'm trying to do that and like kind of drive people there. Maybe post a picture and say if you want more information.
But is blogging really like? I feel like. In my narrow opinion, I feel like blogging is how it started, and that's why it's called being a blogger. But I feel like it's kind of changed. Like does anyone actually read the blog?
Mine, not as much as they used to, and not as much as I hope. But there are certain, if you think about the websites that you go to, essentially, some of those are just blogs, and some of the big ones people go to every day or multiple times a day. It depends on what the volume is, it depends on what people are posting and things like that. And if it says something to you. So, I kind of think of like, what can I do to like at least put something out all the time? Maybe I haven't checked the DC Fashion Forum in a while.
And I'm not saying that to try and discredit what you're doing, because what I think is just how you say how people's behaviors change. From my perception, it's like when blogging started, that was how blogging started. There was no other publication. Like it started with people actually being on what was like it was called Blogger. It was literally called Blogger. And like you would literally write a blog and put a photo. And I feel like that's where it started. But then when Instagram came, people started going on there, and then it went hand in hand with the blogging. But now, and this is all my opinion, please correct me. I feel like blogging influencing has gotten to a mature space where I feel like the audience doesn't want to go and read the blog, where they almost just want to stay on the platform, or they
that's true. People don't want to leave a platform. So that's why I think that you see like stories do well and people are doing, you see IGTV, and you see, because it's all in one place. But you also have to think about YouTube. A lot of people go to YouTube. I need to know how to do something. What am I going to do?
Well, I feel like no one wants to read anything anymore.
So, it depends, if I want to find out how to do something. I don't know. What was I trying to? Oh, I know what it was. I couldn't remember my stupid Gmail password because it's all logged in there. And I'm like, I know somewhere there's something to say, this is how you pull it up. So I found two places. One was a YouTube video and one was a blog. And I'm like, I don't have time to like sit through a YouTube that says, oh, this is I'm so-and-so, like follow my subscribe like this. I just wanted the answer. So I went to a blog that says, this is how you do it. And they had a couple pictures and it says, this is how you see your thing. And that's what I needed. So, there's that type of just-in-time information that I need. So if I'm gonna go to that site, and then maybe I look on that site and like, okay, that was really cool, but there's some other stuff, and maybe there's some like long-form things that explain stuff or like talks to me about things, and maybe I might stay on that site. And
like
and
maybe for people who like that sort of who like to read, I guess.
Right, but then that's also the same thing as like, okay, so you found that nugget of information. There might be some other stuff, like whether it's pictures, whether it's a link to YouTube, whether it's something, if that's where you're starting, that is where you kind of like the place that you start. So, I'd hope that, for me, it's like, all right, this guy lives in DC, wants to talk about DC, and he's writing about that stuff. Let me go check him out, see what he has to say. If I want to get a snippet, I can go to his Instagram picture and see what's going on in his Instagram, or check his story. But if I want some more in-depth stuff, like maybe come here. It's like, why did, what you're going to find with me a lot of times, it's my Instagram is like, hey, I'm not, this is a lot of the girls, and it worked for them. And it's like, hey, look at this outfit. I got it for $20. If you go to Like to Know It, you can go buy it. And,
it's very girl blogger thing.
So like for me, and some of the guys do that too. And I think it works for some people, but for me, I'm like, okay, I can't be like, oh, look at me, wear this stuff.
What I was going to say is that like, I honestly have never read a blogger's blog. Like besides me learning about you, I actually went to and I read all your stuff. But I even my best blogger friends, I've never clicked out to their blog once.
I don't know. I mean, I think for some people, like I'll give you a couple examples. One of the big ones, he's been around for a long time. He Spoke Style.
Who?
He Spoke Style.
Is that a DC one or?
Actually, his name is Brian Sawa. He actually lives in Towson, and a lot of people he's kind of migrated into more like luxury menswear type of stuff, but a lot of people like go to his stuff for advice, and he has some YouTube. So like if that's the voice that you're going to go to, it's just like thinking about like if you're going to go to, I don't know, maybe let's say GQ for looks, and you're going to see these looks. I'm going to see it all in one place. So that's kind of like what people do. There's another guy, one of my friends.
Real quick, just for reference, how long have you been in the game?
That's funny. I was talking to a friend yesterday. She's like, I've had a blog since 2010. I'm like, I think I got you beat because I wrote and I found it. I found my first blog post. It was 2005.
Whoa.
And I went back and I read it yesterday, and there's no pictures. It's just like, I'm starting my blog. This is why I'm doing it. I think it's like maybe a 1 minute read. It still holds up because there's nothing bad about it. So I was like, yeah, but it was a lot different too. I'd post sporadically. I'd post, maybe once every couple months.
But that was a different time. No one knew what it would be.
So I was like, yeah, my mom read it. Maybe my brother, maybe a couple of friends, but you know, it's still up there. And then, that was a lot different. And then, I was a little heavier at the time, and I did a
2005, man. Come on, it's 14 years ago.
I did a health challenge type of thing, and so I said the only way for me to stick to it is like I had to write something every day. So I put myself on notice. So I don't think anybody really read it, but literally every day, whether it was a sentence, whether it was a paragraph, whether it was I wrote something every day. So I just had something down so I could say it. And then at the end of it, you had to submit like an essay or something like that. And I had all that stuff because it was kind of like journaling. Yeah. And I actually won that competition. So this was, I forgot how long ago that was, but it was kind of cool. So
it was a 60-day transformation competition.
It's one of those 90-day things.
90-day things. How much weight did you lose?
Like 20 pounds. Like what I always have to do is lose 20 pounds.
But you only lost 20 pounds in 90 days?
Yep.
And you won? How does that work?
It's interesting.
I could take a shit and lose 20 pounds. What do you mean you lost 20 pounds in 90 days?
Are you kidding? I was a fanatic.
I thought you were going to be like, I lost 150 pounds in 90 days. I mean,
it's just like the transformation is amazing. Maybe one day I'll show you the pictures. Maybe one day. They're actually, some of them are on my Instagram account. So
that's cool. But so, man, good for you though.
So it was cool, but then, that morphed into, all right, I want to write about fashion, and I would say, all right, okay, I'm in this store, and this sweater is cool. What do you guys think about it? I'm running, or I was like, here are the looks for fall that I see, and I, pretty much snapped it with my camera, with my phone, whatever, and write about it.
The pictures on the camera phones back then, you're like, how do you like my square printed outfit?
Or I'd be, in the dressing room. What do you think of this sweater? I remember I was like, I posted one. I had some sweater I got from Diesel. I'm like, what do you guys think about it? And would write about it. And like, here's some that match. And then that kind of morphed into.
But you were just doing that because you wanted to.
Yeah, I was kind of doing it because I wanted to. And I always had a thing for fashion. So I'd always did that. And then I'm like, okay, how can I make that work? And so I started writing for some online publications, which was kind of cool. And they just send me a sample of your writing. Since I had written some stuff, I could put some sentences together. So that was fine. And so I started going, and then I'm like, all right, let me see if I can get into Fashion Week. And so I talked my way into Fashion Week, and
Was this before you had an Instagram too?
Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, it was around the same time because I remember going to my first Fashion Week. I went with two of my friends, and I had taken a picture, and one of them said, nobody's ever going to read your blog or your Instagram unless you get in front of the camera. I'm like, God, I don't want to do that. That sucks.
She was right though.
I'm like, that sucks. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I just don't want to do it. So I had taken a picture of a coat that I have. I still have the coat that I had gotten at Billy Reed. Love the store. And next thing you know, I'm like scrolling through something, and Saks picked it up. So I didn't even buy it at Saks. I was just like, but
they were just carrying it.
They're like, this is, and so I'm like, this is cool. And then she shot some pictures of me in front of Lincoln Center, during Fashion Week. And it was just like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I just started doing it, and I was doing it for a while. And then
It's interesting that Saks picked it up because you were probably one of the only people posting about that stuff.
No, actually, there were a lot of people.
Really?
Because the girls have been around forever, and some of the guys who were like OGs that were in the game, their stuff was have been around. And so I was just like some random dude that happened to have a
good photo,
decent photo, and the picture's not even that good if you look at it. So I don't even know where it is.
The standards have changed so far from that. I'm sure about 2005, dude.
It's just ridiculous. And so I'm just like, all right, let's see what happens. And, there's like highs and lows, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And, you just kind of plug away, there's times really frustrated. Some days I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like this.
But that whole scenario, like you being at Fashion Week, your first Fashion Week, you doing that blog, Saks picks it up. Was that essentially, did that trigger in you like, oh, let me try this more?
I'm like, let's see what happens. But, content is king, so you have to you always have to feed the beast. And I don't think even then, I don't know if I know I wasn't doing I wasn't posting every day, or there were times when I don't feel like
but
doing
it was the Wild West though, man.
And
Come on, dude. That's 2005. Instagram was a Wild West.
By then, now we're talking maybe fast forward 5 years later.
2010.
Maybe a little bit, maybe 12 or 13 or whatever.
That's
still
not mature Instagram.
But still, it was just all right, let's see what happens. And, and then...
So were you always based in DC for this too?
Yeah. I'm from
because
DC.
You are branded as DC Fashion Fool, so it's like you're the...
Well, it's weird because I don't know if they found me through my blog or through Instagram, but this company reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we want you to host an event." I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "We need a name. We need your name. We need your logo." I'm like, "I don't have any of that crap. I don't know what that is." So I was sitting in my office and I remember she's like, "We need it by a certain time today." And I was like, "All right, let me just make up stuff." So I'm just like, "Okay, DC Fashion Fool." I just made it up and just sent it off.
That's a great branding too.
That's it. It's good and it's bad though, because now it's DC. What if I move to California? So am I still going to be the DC, Fashion Fool in California?
You just be the California Fashion Fool, CA Fashion Fool.
So it's interesting. Then of course I've decided, let me see if I can go snag Fashion Fool, but that's gone.
Or you could be the Fashion Fool.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I had to do, man. Bruce Allen, the owner of the Redskins, took that shit. I got it. So I'm like the Bruce Allen everywhere.
Yeah, so that's the one thing though. If you're whatever you do, grab everything. So I'm and I have some other names that I picked up and snagged. I'm like, maybe I'll do something else, and because I don't feel that I'll be snapping pictures of myself for a whole that's going to be the end all be all thing. Something else will happen.
You want to take it somewhere else?
I don't know if I want to take it somewhere else. I probably want to do some other things, I have friends that start magazines. I have friends that start clothing lines. I have friends that do other stuff.
But
so
the thing is, you realistically could. You're an OG and you know enough people in the city. I've been to those parties and you just pop up out of the freaking woodwork. I'm like, of course you're here, dude, because these are the who's who of DC.
I don't. It's just if you just can get on a list, pretty much. No.
I was gonna say because you could easily reach out to someone and be like, yo, I want to start this thing. And they'd be like, here's some money.
Well, if anybody's out there listening and doing that, send a lot of money and I'll be happy to do that. And, I have some things that I've thought about doing to kind of branch out.
Like what?
You have to wait and see.
Okay, you want to spill the eggs?
So there's some things that I've been thinking about.
Would it be DC based, something you think DC needs or something?
Probably. The one cool thing. I like DC. I'm from DC pretty much. And
born and raised or just?
I grew up here. I moved here when I was 2. So pretty much, yeah.
Whoa.
Went to school, moved away for school, worked away a couple of years and then moved back. Can
I ask how old you are?
No.
Okay.
157.
That's why I asked. Again, I ask you.
So, but I don't, I think about, what would it be? One of the things when I first really thought I was going to get into it, I talked to some brands and I talked to some people in New York. I'm like, oh, we don't really work with any New York DC influencers, DC bloggers and DC. I'm like, well, why not? Or if they did, they were working with the same people that have been doing it forever. And some of them aren't really even in the business before, but once you start to meet some people and you know who's doing it, you're like, oh, so-and-so's at this event, so-and-so's at this event, and this guy's from DC. Why didn't they invite some other people? And they're like, oh, no, there's nobody else around. I'm like, well, that's a bunch of crap. So that's kind of why. And last year, I think is what it was. I said, all right, I got to figure out a way to get some eyes on DC. So that's why I started. I'm like, well, what if we get some guys together who are kind of fashionable and kind of whatever, and try to do some events and try to do some stuff. I mean, it's hard because, you know, people's schedules and things like that, but we try to do some things, and that's how like the DC Dapper Dude stuff popped up and stuff like that.
So you're behind that.
So I said, let me host a brunch, and like, you know, you do like a shoot. So because the one thing I always saw is like in New York, I was under the impression that everybody in New York, all the guys in New York are like all friends, they palled around together. You know, they like every event they just came together and, you know, they did these amazing shoots, and I'm like, all right, we need to do that stuff. And, you know, once you get behind the scenes and, you know, that's not necessarily true, but, you know, kind of people band together and kind of support each other. That's kind of what I wanted to do in DC, because
that's how you build it, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the girls around town, they do that. They have these little syndicates and they have these little things.
They look like cliques to me. I don't know about syndicates.
I mean, that's true. That's true, and I even think that sometimes
like DC Dapper Dudes feels more of like an actual group that's trying to like push menswear fashion or just men's blogging in DC to like the
I
next
think
level.
it is, and I think it is, but it does run the risk of for some people, because some people have reached out to me and said, "Oh, it seems a little cliquey," and I just and there's a chance that it could end up that way. So you kind of have to watch it, and you have to remember what. At least what my idea was. It's just like, all right, can I bring some guys together? Some people are more advanced, some people aren't as advanced. Show you what to do, is like how to like kind of navigate the system, and then also like get some great shots of a group shot. So because part of it's work, because people say, I see all these guys that are really dressed around town, and there's other people trying to copy it, and there's other people like doing stuff, which is really, you know, it's good and it's bad.
Copy it in DC or just everywhere in general?
And DC, it's like, I see all these guys get together because, you know, I'm just one person. So like basically what I did was like, I'm trolling Instagram, trolling stuff. Oh, this guy's pretty cool. Let me reach out to him, see if he wants to do it. But you know, I'm one person. And so I think some people get offended because they're not asked, but you know, I can't see everybody. And then, you know,
are there a lot of fashionable dudes presenting themselves on social media that
I think they're starting to be? I'm starting to see a lot more. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And then there's also a lot of people that want what you have, or you know, that's the one interesting thing. You know, you put up an Instagram picture like, oh, everybody's gonna love me, and everybody's just like, well, now it's really interesting because there's some people that actually don't like me, and I'm like, well, that's kind of weird.
Just
I have never done anything to them, and you know, I can see it like
just from looking at you, they don't like you.
I have no idea. And it's interesting. And there's been some events that like I haven't been invited to because of that, or like if I do get invited, because a lot of times some of the events the invites come from different locations, and I walk in and some people are like, what are you doing here? You weren't on my list. And I'm just like, you know, that's what happens. Oh yeah.
Why would someone be upset at that though?
I don't know.
You seem like such a nice dude. Like I don't know how many mean bones you got in there, man.
Probably a lot, but but yeah,
I've never heard someone talk bad about you.
It's been well, thank you.
No, personally, seriously, like I know all the people with DC Dapper Dudes. I know almost of the bloggers.
I wouldn't say it's them. I wouldn't say.
But no, I know it's not them. But like if someone was to hear some shit, it would be me.
Yeah.
Like,
so, but you know, there's some stuff. There's some things that's happened in the last couple of weeks. I'm like, you know. It makes you think, and I thought it was just me, and I have some really close friends that I'm like, hey, have you noticed this? And they're like, yeah. So that's pretty apparent.
Well, have you noticed what?
You know, just certain things that have happened that, you know, not that I think that I'm the end all be all of DC and stuff like that, but
you're the OG really, dude.
That I think that maybe I should be included in and purposely left out. And even at events, I've been purposely left out of some things. I'm like, well, that's interesting. But then
do you think it's because of how much experience you have? Like someone's like scared you might take the brand deal, or like they're scared that like, you know, instead of viewing it as collaboration like you have, like maybe they view it as competition where they don't want to get you involved because like, fuck, he's going to come here and just steal all the sun, or in a way.
I don't know what it is, but I think that I'm always of the opinion that a rising tide lifts all boats. So I think that for certain things, it doesn't have to be like that Highlander mentality. There can be only one.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of times there's that, but I also think that there's this notion that, you know, that some people have is like one person does get it, they're the only one, and so I need to either try to get it from him or present myself as doing it better or present.
But you got it though. That's the thing is like, I think when these dudes look at you, like you got it. And so they're like, fuck, like.
Yeah, but I'm just like, so my whole thing is there's a lot of stuff out there. And if I don't get something, sure, I'm disappointed and sure that's, especially if I think that I'm perfect for it. But
what do you mean get something like a brand deal?
Like a brand deal or because, on certain things, and if you look at Instagram, if you know a lot of people, on certain days, on certain things, people are required to post on a certain day. So all of a sudden you see, everybody posting, let's say Reebok shoes. So everybody got this Reebok shoe thing. I'm like, well, I applied for it. I didn't get it. You know what I mean? So you just kind of have to go on for that. And so for a while, I just like, screw that. I'm like, if somebody doesn't want to work with me, then don't do it. But on the other hand, there's this thing about, all right, I saw that Barnette get it, so I'm going to go pitch myself and try to get it as well. That's fine, and I don't have a problem with that. But then it's like, well, give it to me and not Barnette, then I do have a problem. And then they would actually say, "Oh yeah, it's happened before.
I'm a better candidate or something."
Yeah, or they pitch themselves as something like that, and I've
that's just an asshole.
I've gone behind and said, "Hey," and I've talked to the brand or the whatever, and I said, "Hey, look, if you want to work with them, that's fine. I'll find something else, and I just won't work with you anymore." And I think that there's so much out there that there's a lot of opportunities.
I think if someone's ever approaching things like that in your world, they're approaching brands trying to steal your brand deal, trying to step on your toes. It's like, that just doesn't seem smart for them in the long run. But also, I feel like then that also kind of maybe says like they're not in it for the right reasons.
I think, I don't know, people think of low hanging fruit. You know what I mean? It's like, if he can get it, I can get it. Now, there's nothing wrong with, what I try to do is if I see like some other influencers working with other brands, especially if they're not here, even sometimes here, I was like, hey, do you mind sharing a contact? Maybe I can see if I can work something out with them. And, that's one way to do it. So there's actually two brands that I really, really want to work with. Yeah. I'm not going to say.
Come on, man, just say it. No. If anything, maybe they're listening. They want to listen. They want to work with you. But you think someone's going to try and jump on it?
You never know. So you have to. I think you have to enter it with an air of caution because you don't want to put all your stuff out there.
That's true.
So that's the other thing. I
don't mind if we spill beans.
No.
So these two bands you're talking about, it's interesting because you're actually approaching them. So I'm guessing they're pretty big. How does that process look? Like, what do you do?
Both of them, they're my aesthetic. It's what I like.
Of course.
And I have friends that already have contracts with them or are working with them and say, hey, do you mind sharing your contact with me? And both of them have. And so I'm in the process of talking to them now to see if I can work out something. And they're good fits for me. I mean, so that's why I decided to do it now. There's some other stuff.
But do you approach them and you say, hey, I want to work with you, pay me this much? Or are you like, hey, I want to work with you, just give me free shit? Like, how does that normally work?
It depends. So you always have to think about, free shit does not pay your bills. So
Facts.
you can't always rely on that. And so if you're first starting out, you're like, yeah, somebody's like, hey, would you, and it's always, and everybody will laugh when they say, hey, you want a pair of socks or whatever it is? And like, yeah, we'll take it, and then you're just like, all right, I've got like 80 pairs of socks now, can we do a little money by it? And that's not to say that that's not a bad thing, because when you're getting started, that's one thing. But if you think about what you're doing, and if you think about what an ad costs, if I'm going to put it in, I don't know, let's say I'm putting an ad in GQ, it's going to cost X dollars.
It costs a lot of money.
It's going to cost a lot of money. If I throw free product at an influencer and they know that they're going to get they're going to get eyes on it.
Especially someone who has as much outreach as you.
So the idea now is like, all right, if I'm going to put up a picture like that, and unless if Tom Ford's listening and he wants to send me free stuff every day, if
that's different. It's Tom Ford. That's Tom Ford. That's a whole nother level.
Yeah, I'll do it. But if you think about it, I mean, your time is, I have to edit. Again, I have to get photos, so I have to pay a photographer, which I have to do.
You actually pay your photographers?
Some yes, some no.
That's what's up, man. Thank you.
So yeah, some of them I just paid one the other day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so fortunately, there's some bloggers that are pretty good, so I use them and we trade off, and sometimes my pictures actually come out half decent, so I can sometimes take a picture or two. So you do that. What I have done with some of a couple of photographers that I work with regularly, I'm like, okay, I'm just shooting for me. So we have like, I throw them a little something. Like I can't really, I don't make enough to afford to pay all the time. So I was like, well, here's the deal. If I get a contract and I can't budget in a photographer, because a lot of times it's like my photographer costs X. And so I can put that in the contract. So that's easy. Or I'm like, okay, if I'm going to negotiate this, I'm going to give you a percentage of what I'm going to get. And so, but it's a couple of people that I work with all the time. So they know and they don't expect it. So I have some really good people that do that for me. And then like other times they're just like, all right, how are you going to charge me for this outfit? I need to get this shot, and then I have to do it. But it's interesting.
So you would, because you're, when it comes to like how you approach a situation, I guess these two big brands, for the example, you have to get the brand deal, and I guess you negotiate price or whatever. It's in their park when you come to them. So you're like,
right. It's you have to, like, for me, I was like, why do I want to work with this brand? Why is it because I want the clothes? Is it because I want that? I want this and that. Like now it's not so much because I have clothes.
Well, I think it's because because it aligns with your aesthetic, but also because you want to show it to your audience.
Right, exactly. And you have this dilemma, and I'm still guilty of it. I still wear the same stuff all the time because I like that the most. But you always have to think about, all right, can I put this on my Instagram? I wear this. I don't know.
Well, it's also got to be like an achievement unlocked. Like I got the Reebok brand deal.
I
got the Billy Reed brand deal. Like
no,
that's gotta feel nice.
I don't think that's, for me, that's not.
Okay.
I'm just like, all right, my approach is, all right, if it's a new brand, if it's a new brand, it's the brands that I like, I want to show it on my blog, or I was showing it on my Instagram, but I want to be the guy that's like, hey, look at this. I'm wearing this because it came from there. But I do have to do that because that's what some of the brands want. And that's always a struggle because you want to be authentic and like, hear this. And they want to say, we have this, wear this.
They kind of give you a script, I guess.
Sometimes, and that's always a back and forth thing. And there's some companies I won't work with anymore because I fought with them. Like, I would never say that. You know what I mean? And
that's weird. They would go to you for the ad, but then be like, "Hey, say this." Like,
so that's always part of it. Sometimes if it aligns with what I would say, then that's fine. Mm-hmm. But for me, I'm more of, all right, I'm going to an event or I'm doing this and this is what I'm going to wear for it. And this is why, and here's a little bit more. And then I might be like, okay, the brand is this, and this. So I'm about to do some stuff for some events that are coming up and,
events in DC.
I want to be, I'd like to be dressed for them. And so for me,
will you approach the brands and be like, hey, I'm going to some events. Can you outfit me kind of thing?
It's both ways.
Okay.
So some both ways, some not, I have something coming up on Friday and I didn't reach out in time and I'm just like, God, damn, this would be perfect. I'll just pull something. But, again, my approach is, all right, I'm going to showcase what you're going to wear if you're going to this situation. So, for instance, I don't know.
Are you at a point where you don't have to buy clothes anymore?
No, I just bought some shoes.
Well, you do really like clothes, so there's that. But but for the most part, like, could you dress yourself with everything? With just brands? Like that you've gotten deals with?
I'm looking at what I have on now. I don't think I paid for anything that I have on today.
How with the watch?
Damn. And I love this watch. I love this watch. What is it? It's a Chronoby. It's a smart connected watch.
Hear that? He's not wearing a Jord watch.
Oh, good God. I have not done that. They've asked me, but no. I like this watch. I was just
That's very nice.
Because I wanted I have a Apple Watch that I never wear.
Bro, I don't get those things.
I like to see like time. I like to see the time.
That looks way better. I feel like with an Apple Watch, you're just getting a text message twice.
So this will buzz if I get a text message. It's a buzz if I get a phone call.
But there's no like LED. It's just like it looks like a timepiece.
And so it'll buzz when I hit my 10,000 steps, which I never do.
Oh, that's slick. That's really slick because it looks like a normal watch, but it really is.
It really is. So like all of these things like do different things. Like one of them is a stop hand. One of them, if it's...
But it doesn't look like a smartwatch, which is...
So like when I do this, if I lose my phone...
What?
I can find my phone. So
this is not a brain deal. I'm just getting my mind blown, guys. All right, Jesus.
But it's a great watch.
That's cool.
So like for me, I'm not about... a lot of people come to me and it's like, oh, where'd you get this suit? And I can refer to them like certain places and that's one thing. But
you seem to wear a lot of suits.
Because I like suits. And
do you know Greg Michael?
Huh?
Do you know Gregory Michael?
The name, yeah.
He was the last guest I had.
Yeah. I've actually done some stuff with it because
that's good.
Yeah. They dressed me for a couple events. They dressed me for the Preakness last year. They dressed me for the Rammies.
Did you work directly with him?
For some stuff, yeah, pretty much. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So like Stitch reached out to me and I was like, hey, let's do this. They dressed me for the Washingtonian Style Setter. They dressed me for a lot of things. So, they've been really good.
Dude,
but
he knows so much.
And that's my thing. I'm like, I am not.
But that's his expertise, though. You'll never know as much as that guy.
There's people that write about, like, if you look at some of the bloggers around town and their style and what they post and what they talk about, there's some that's like, all right, here's this jacket, it's made of this, blah, 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 and here's the lapels. I'm like, I don't know what that
But that's not your field. You're not just like a suit wear blogger. For him, that's his domain. So it's like, it makes sense for him.
And every once in a while, I might try to put some of that stuff in there, but I'm just like, all right, here's what I have, and this is what this, and it's. I'm either going to tell you about why I wore it someplace, or it just happens to be this is what I wore when I went someplace. So there's always going to be like, maybe like when I travel, I made this joke. I went on this travel press trip. I was in Slovenia, and I just went, and I honestly didn't know, like half the time I'm like, I don't know what we're standing next to. I don't know what this is, but I wore this. And
I don't know what this national monument is.
I don't know what this haystack is, but this is what it is. But then I would say, okay, this is what I wore. And then I also wrote, okay, actually the haystack is what it is.
Was it a paid trip to Slovenia?
Pretty much, yeah.
Damn.
Living
the life, dude.
So basically, I would say, all right, okay, here I am, and we're by this fortress. It's not a castle. It's and I would, and there's so in some cases it's about the education.
Why did they pay you to be in Slovenia?
So they didn't. I was a +1, so I didn't have. So I didn't physically get extra cash, but I didn't have to pay for anything.
Dang.
So who
pimped you out to go to Slovenia? Who pimped you out to go to Slovenia? It must be someone bigger than you, right?
No, it's just like, a lot of bloggers get these trips. It's because you are gonna do something for them. So
okay.
It's just, I went on a cruise, I'm gonna write about the cruise. I'm gonna post about being on the cruise. And I have some stuff I'm doing for celebrity cruises. So they put a whole bunch of bloggers on a boat and made it very Instagram friendly. And
that would be the most extra cruise I could ever imagine. Holy cow,
dude! I got up. It was a 3-day cruise, so it's like up and back. You don't do anything. I met this one girl. We were up at, I want to say like 6 a.m. because the lighting was good, taking pictures.
Oh yeah, especially in the water.
And there's certain places on that ship that were pretty iconic that you would want to be shot at.
Was this a Carnival ship or what kind of ship?
Celebrity.
Okay.
And, everybody's like trying to get their pictures there. This girl, she changed 7 times to get all. I was just like, look, I got 3
in the morning
and I'm out. She had 7. She's probably still on that cruise.
she's taking a photo right now.
But and you walking around, and there was a lot of influencers on there all doing that same stuff. But the idea is, there's 2 components. I think there's the education part, like getting people that follow you to learn about something, especially if it's a new brand or it's a brand that doesn't get a lot of attention. So you can give out the education, you can recommend it, you can do your own recommendations. Then there's also the sales component. It's like, I'm wearing this jacket. Go buy this jacket, but in your own words, to like, it's like, Barnette has that jacket, I need to go buy it. And so that's what.
So you consider yourself like some part of you're almost a salesman in a weird way.
Well, you're kind of. So like, some brands are looking at that. They're looking to see like, am I going to convert into sales? So like, if you're going to get a brand deal, that's what you kind of look at. And I don't.
Do you present your conversion rates to them?
I don't. A lot of times I don't know, like, because if they've given me a link, I don't know what they say, but I don't. For me, I don't think of myself as trying to push sales. I'm more of an education thing, or I'd be like, oh, I saw Barnette in that suit from Stitched. Maybe I'll go to Stitch and check it out. So one, the person may or may not buy something, but at least now that store is in their mind to like go there to look at it.
Which is weird because you can't measure that. You can only measure the impression.
So, I hear people say, I know like for the Stitch, I wore something, and I've seen a couple people with that exact same suit.
Nice.
And one of them told me he got it because he saw me in that
Dude, that's
magazine.
Awesome. That's the whole point you do it. That's awesome.
But like, I can't physically convert that because they didn't necessarily click my link and go, they went in the store and bought it. But like I can track. One time I got a pair of Timberland boots. These boots were amazing, and I put it on my Instagram post, and I have a link, because I monetize some of my links. And I woke up one morning, and dudes don't convert like women do, and I was like, wow, I have all this money in my account. I never.
How much did you make from it? Like
not a whole lot,
roughly, but
not a whole lot.
Like 1,000?
No, I don't make that much money off of those clicks and stuff.
Like $500.
Trust me, it's not that. Tell me,
dude, this is free money. I'm so curious. Come on, dude, you're making money off of the internet.
Maybe made like $100, $200 off of it. But
that's a lot to someone.
It's weird. It's just like because trust me, I don't make like for those clicks. Very rarely make any money.
But you believed in the product, I guess.
So I was just like, I really liked them. They're really cool, and I like out of a fluke, I had gotten them at a gifting lounge. We had gone to like a Timberland gifting lounge, and I was like, all right, these boots are cool. I'm going to change what I'm going to wear. It was during fashion week. I'm going to change what I look. And then we shot them and I posted them like the next day. And I was just like, let me put this in my little affiliate link. Mm-hmm. And I woke up and I was just like, oh my God, I sold like 10 pairs all of a sudden. It's just like, wow, that's kind of cool. For some girls, if you put it up, they'll still like hundreds. And there's a couple brands, a couple agencies that you work with. They're like, all right, we want you to put up some links in your post, and you can do that. It's no big deal. If you just write your post and say, here's some stuff. And they'll tell you, it's like, for the women, they're like, don't use anything that's on sale because it'll sell out too fast. For some people have that kind of influence. I don't think I have that kind of influence.
But women typically shop more than men do.
I think guys will look and say, oh, where'd you get that suit from? And if I need a suit, like a lot of people don't need a suit every day. They're like, here you go. So for me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to present high stuff, low stuff. I have a passion for suits that I can't afford, but who do we all? And I have some that are accessible, and I'll tell you, and I have a suit that didn't quite really work out, so I haven't really posted anything. I posted like one picture, but it
didn't work out.
It's one of those measure yourself and stuff like that, and it's way too big, and it's just like, so now
Greg is cringing in his boots right now. his pompadour just tilted to the left when he heard that.
But the other thing is, for some of the brands that people don't have good experiences, I do, because people know who I am. Mm. So I'm just like, okay, this is exactly what you need to do, and I'll tell you how to do that so you can get the best experience. Because at some of the brands, you can get a great deal if you can get it right.
Where do you think you rank on like the blogger ladder in DC? Because from my knowledge and the bloggers that are under you, like people that you've mentored that I know personally, they all point to you.
Yeah, well, that's
is there anyone you point to
in DC? I think for different things. I mean, I think like for photography, if you look at like O'Neill, the creative gentleman, his stuff is amazing. He can photograph like nobody's business.
I mean, he does it himself too, right?
I mean, like if you look at his photography, it's just really cool. I'm leaving here today to go support my buddy Corey. He's hosting an event at Nordstrom's. He's killing it, So like it's
Corey,
stuff like the _fashionable_man or something like that.
Oh God, that name kills me.
Yeah,
Corey, you need to rebrand.
Well, he can. Because there's another guy I know he follows me because he sends me texts all the time. He's the fashionable man. So you got to grab those names. But he's killing it. I mean, there's a lot of
but these aren't dudes you point to. These are dudes kind of under you.
No, I still point to their stuff because
really?
You can learn. I can learn from everybody.
Am I wrong to assume just by clout level, like follower score, like follower amounts, that you can't point to them? Like Creative Gentleman only has like 12,000. You have like 50,000, dude.
I got 20,000 barely. That
you should have let me say that 50, but 20. Yeah. That's insane.
Well, if everybody's listening, get all your 50,000 podcast followers to like follow the DC Fashion Fool. That
you'd be very surprised people listen to this.
I believe you. Have them all follow me. I want to see the numbers like rise. And
you gonna follow them back?
I can't follow them back. No, I learned real quick. So one of my assignments when I was writing for these publications was to identify Instagrammers who had under 10,000 followers.
You mean, wait, what?
Instagrammers who were up and coming that had guys who had under 10,000 followers. So cool thing about that assignment is somehow the cool Instagram to follow, a lot of them are your friends. So, you know what I mean? So a lot of them popped up in there. And then this is one guy, at the time, he had like 9,900 and something. I met him in Fashion Week. Super nice guy. Stuff is amazing. A year later, he's like at 25,000. Now he's at like 40 some thousand. He is absolutely blowing up.
In New York,
amazing. Though? Yeah. Greatest guy.
What's his name?
Guy. IG Ikafor.
Wait, what?
IGEEAOFOR. I think I spelled it right.
What does he do? That's so insane.
He's an influencer. His stuff is great. He's a nice guy. Does
he have like a 12 pack? Is that what it is?
He's a good looking dude. I mean, I don't think he has I mean, I don't know. But and I don't think that's necessarily the case, because if you follow people like Notoriously Dapper, who talks about body positivity, he's a bigger dude. He's got 47,000 followers. Wow. So I think a lot of it is finding people that look like you or have your kind of thing. I mean, everybody wants to, everybody follows I Am Gala, because he's like, he's got millions of followers.
I Am Gala.
He's like the first. You know what I mean?
He's the OG of
his name is Adam too.
He's the OG of men's blogging.
Oh yeah.
What made him that?
He was the first.
Like the first recognizable.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, he's like you follow like people like that, but like I think there's two types of people follow. People follow like celebrities, the big IG people, like that, because it's like aspirational thing. And then they follow people that for some reason they connect with or looks like them. I want to see how something looks on Barnette versus on somebody, how it looks on LeBron James, who's you know what I mean. So I think there's a lot of that too. People like to see. It's that real person behind it too. So
is your audience mostly dudes?
It's 51%
dudes.
But a lot of
females.
A lot of females is like, oh, my boyfriend. A lot of the women, it's like, I make my boyfriend follow you. I follow him for him, or my husband and stuff like that. Wow. So I get a lot of that. Because a lot of couples, the wife or the girlfriend is buying a lot of that stuff. So they're just like, why can't I heard this all the time. It's like, why doesn't he dress like you? I'm like, I don't know. I just throw this stuff on and just kind of go.
It's a part of who you are.
So, so that's that I'm aware of that. So,
do you think you live a pretty crazy lifestyle? Like, do you think that like compared to a normal person, what you do is pretty different? Like, do you realize that?
No, because I'm at home watching Netflix like everybody else. I mean,
yeah, but you're also at like 5 events during the week, sipping champagne with like Governor Arnold. Like,
yeah,
most people aren't at these galas, like getting free food from the hottest restaurants, and drinking for free like 4 times a night.
I think,
free cruises. Come on, dude.
It's
Sylvania.
Everybody looks at you. It's so unrealistic, think about Fire Festival.
You're the second person to bring that shit
up. Think about that. I mean, look on your wall over there. Look at those pictures. You can't tell me that every single one of those pictures is not Photoshopped. Every single one of those pictures, every single picture of that is Photoshopped.
He's looking at a bunch of like Chanel, Gucci ads, some editorials, and Alexander McQueen ad.
Not one of those pictures went up natural. Not one. I'm not gonna argue semantics, but you're right. 99.9% of those have been. So if you're looking at Instagram is the exact same way. People, if the influencers that are serious about what they're doing, their stuff is really, really curated. I mean, there's a handful that are like.
But isn't that the point? It's all highlights, though. Like the point is to present this highlighted, curated thing that makes you seem larger than life. Like it's like you're trying to create your own like micro celebrity.
I think yes and no. I think there's a couple people that are like, all right, I don't care. I'm gonna put up anything. But I think it's really curated. People are like, can I take a picture? One of my friends, he's like, people are like, can I take a picture and put it up on my Instagram? He's like, well, let me see it first. And
with you?
No, not with me. This is what he, that's how he kind of operates. But you're kind of curated. And
I noticed that you don't ever go vulnerable on your post.
What do you mean? I do occasionally. It depends on what I'm posting about.
I feel like a lot of bloggers don't. Like a lot of influencers never kind of get like raw or real with you.
Unless
they're the feminists who have hairy armpits, they do that shit all the time. I don't know why they want to tell me about their period timings, but they're hilarious.
It's just like, I'm going to talk about what, I don't know. I think that it's affecting me at time. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm about to do some stuff on men's skincare. So it's the issues that I have with my skin, and talk about that stuff. And I do some stuff, Yeah.
But how vulnerable is that though?
It's pretty vulnerable.
I guess maybe for you.
Yeah, it's like, I know, it's just like, stuff like that. And, I'm trying to be.
Have you ever talked about like your mom dying? And I don't know, I'm just saying like, or like your dog dying or anything like that?
I talked about my dad.
Like
yeah, I talked about my dad. Yeah. So like my dad passed in 2015 and 14, I think is what, and,
that's some real shit.
I wrote about, I don't, in all honesty, people are looking at pictures on your Instagram. So it's not necessarily, they're not going to necessarily, read all of that stuff. So put up a picture, maybe wrote a sentence, and everything was on my blog. It's like, this is why my dad why he was really important to me. Yeah. I've done it a couple of times. I did it, I think, for Father's Day last year, the year before. And then like, when he did pass, I put a picture and like how his influenced me and stuff like that. So yeah, I do that. On certain things, but, I think for some people, I can tell you last year when they did, I'm not a tourist, I live here, the Washingtonian ad that caused all that problem. That's when I got a lot of people that hate me now.
Really? Wait, I saw you in that. You were in like a floral backdrop, right?
No, I was in, it was taken right outside of I live across the street.
It doesn't matter, but why did that article generate so much flack for everyone?
Well, because of the people that they use, because of the ethnicity of the people that they use.
Was it all white people?
Pretty much. Diego did it, and he took his picture down and then put it back up. But yeah, it was very interesting.
And the Washingtonian did it. But the thing is, the Washingtonian, come on, that's not their audience. Their audience is like the upper class white people in DC.
But there's upper class black people in DC too. So
that's true. That's very true.
So I originally, Diego told me he was putting the picture up, so I knew he was putting it up, and I was like, he had said, they asked some influencers around to put the picture up. I'm like, well, they didn't ask me, but that's a function of, do they know you? It's a function of, there's a lot of functions that go behind it.
So it was a fact because they only asked the white people to do it.
So they
Caucasian
originally they said they had a group of, I don't know how many, a certain group that they were going to use. And then they were reaching out to a second set. And then, so that makes me think, wow, second tier, second set.
Ooh, no one wants to hear that.
So, but I say that because I saw Diego did it. I saw his picture and I commented and I said, oh, it'd be nice to do it. And then they reached out to me after I commented on his picture. And not to get me wrong, because I love the Washingtonian and I've done some stuff with them, but, I said, well, that's interesting. And so then all of a sudden I get this buzz, put your picture up. I'm like, well, first of all, I got to take the picture. I got to wait for the shirt to arrive. I might not like the picture. I'm picky about what I put up.
Oh, so the shirt it
says, I'm not a tourist. I live here. I think I left it up. So it was, to encourage people to subscribe.
So, who is mad? Who is mad?
The black community was mad. A lot of people were mad. So when I talked to them, I said, I'll put up the picture, but I'm not going to put it up as an advertisement for subscribing to the Washingtonian. And I put up why I put it up. I mean, I grew up with the Washingtonian. I live here. I'm from Washington. And so I did put it up. But I can see the other point of why not putting it up, and I'm sure I'll still get some more hate stuff for even talking about it. But
no, I think it's good to talk about.
So it's very interesting. You can't. I think.
Do you think that the Washingtonian actually did that because it was racially fueled, or do you think it just happened to end up that way?
Oh no, I think. When they put it up, I think it was a mistake how they
like they didn't pay attention,
marketed the campaign. But you have to think about when a campaign goes up anywhere, like you see the flack that's been happening with Balenciaga and Gucci and all that stuff about cultural insensitivity.
Dude, that stuff pisses me off.
So, but you have to think about that. Think about that for a second. Somebody comes up with a campaign. They do it, whatever. Somebody has to sign off on it. Somebody has to look at it. So
yeah, okay, okay. You want to talk about the Gucci stuff and the real quick and the product stuff? We can talk about that. And we'll go back to the Washingtonian thing.
Go ahead.
Okay, I do think it was insensitive. The Gucci blackface and the Prada noose neck, or sorry, Burberry noose neck, right? I also share that idea that they are not American. They don't share American values, so they don't have the same culture that we do. So I don't think that, you know, yes, I could see how people are offended 100%. I can see how it looks like that cartoon. I can see how people are like, you know, I'm offended, take this shit down, burn your Gucci. Like, I get it. But at the same time, I think that these are companies from across the world, from European countries or wherever they are. I forget where Gucci's based out of. And they don't have the same racial background that we have. So I think when they made that turtleneck, I think they made it and it was maybe like an evolution, because if you look at other pieces, they kind of have like that smiley face on it. I think when they made that piece, it was like, and you're kind of smirking.
No,
what,
see,
you actually think no, you actually think Gucci made that to be mean?
I don't know if they made it to be mean, but I think that it's very insensitive. I think that you're in a global society, so regardless of wherever you are, you know, if your audience, if you know the U.S. or you know African Americans or whatever is going to be part of your market that you want to sell to, you have to look at all of that stuff. You can't just be insular anymore. And so it's just think about look at Dolce & Gabbana with the Asian ads that they did.
Oh my God!
So
well,
you know what I mean?
But that was. He said some messed up things in those
yeah,
that was messed up. The whole campaign was messed up. Like
so,
that was bad.
So it's stuff like that you have to like.
But I guess the other side of the way I look at that sometimes is I get the insensitivity, but how can you go around thinking that everything you do has to equally represent everyone? That's how can you can't. That seems so hard to do. Like
it doesn't, but I think that you
to have a campaign and be like, oh, for everything we do, it has to equally represent whites and blacks and minorities and intersexual feminists and all this stuff. It's like
I don't think it has to, but then there's also the expectation. Then you have to know that if people don't feel represented, they're not going to buy your product. Mm-hmm. And people have they can say, hey, I'm not going to do this, and this is why. And that in turn can spark a lot of people say, hey, I'm not going to do it either. So, I mean, people are free to do whatever they want.
Of course.
And people are going to do whatever they want. So, but if you're going to do that, and then that's okay. But you just recognize that there's going to be people that don't like it. And I will say that, like, you know, one of the things I kind of look at first, like, okay, if I don't know, let's say, and I'm not saying they do or they not, let's say like a J. Crew magazine comes through, like their spring catalog comes through. I'm going to go look through it. I look for diversity in the magazine. I'm like, if there's no diversity, I'm just like, Now, I say that because
that's actually something you're like, I'm consciously aware of.
I'm always consciously
really
aware.
I can't say the same for myself.
I always look at now. That's not to say that if that J. Crew flyer that came out, they only used 2 models. I mean, they used a man and a woman for their thing. That's different. But if they have a whole bunch of looks and a whole bunch of people, they are, and it's all, you know, representative of one class of people, then that sort of says something, whether consciously or unconsciously they did it. But in my head, it's like, well, you know what I mean? So I think about that. I went to an event Wednesday night, Thursday night, I don't know, one of the nights this week. And I looked around and I was the only person of color there. And I was just like, that's interesting.
Do you think that was on purpose, or do you think it's because there are no African-American bloggers? Or
no, I think part of the problem is, and this is what happens, like the people that are making the list have a pool of people that they go to. Maybe they might start with their friends, or they've asked their friends who they follow or who they look at. And there's always like, oh, I didn't think to look at so-and-so or so-and-so because that's not what I know. So
I get it because they might be white or whatever it is. They reach out to what's familiar to them or to who they know, and that's their circle.
And so by the time they say, I need 50 people, they hit that 50 people. They're like, oh, I didn't look at Barnette. I didn't look at, like, you know, Anchi, who's, you know.
Let's go back to the Washingtonian thing real quick, because I think that's kind of important to talk about, because in that case, DC is mostly colored people. When you really think about it, like the real people that like DC was called Chocolate City, dude.
Right. It's diverse, yeah, but you know, it's also, I still think in a lot of ways it's segregated. It's a lot of, you know, and I think for good and for bad. I think some people think we should be separated. Some people don't. And so,
Wait, so how can it be segregated for good?
You know, a chance to get opportunities that otherwise might not come their way. You know, I think some people look at it that way. I think that it's important to support people that support you. So I think that, you know, you kind of have to look at everything. You have to look at, you know, all this stuff. And, you know, unfortunately for DC, if you're looking at like clothing and stuff, there's not a whole lot of, you know, stuff isn't really, I mean, there's some people that are doing some stuff, but not on like a mass market scale, like, I don't know, like a Gucci or like even H&M or stuff. And H&M is, you know, another big people that do a lot of stupid
we won't forget
stuff.
that one.
But you know, we don't have, I mean, like I said, there's some people that are doing some stuff, but they're not huge and like nationwide things like that. So where do people go?
They're not based out of here.
You know, so part of the thing is, you know, what I look for is if there are some brands and stuff that have that stuff, you know, if it fits my aesthetic is weird. I like, a lot of people don't like what I wear. A lot of people do, but it's what I choose to showcase. You know,
I'm confused what you're getting at though.
So I'm saying that, you know, if I think that I look for diversity. I do look at that. And I'm like I said, but I also am looking for stuff that appeals to me. And so I have to make an effort. I'm like, if I'm going to wear something that's controversial or something there's a reason.
Are you saying that white driven products appeal to you more than?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. I'm trying to like,
not necessarily. I mean, like I said, you know, if Tom Ford wants to dress me, I'll wear his stuff every day. But you know, I like that. I like that look. I was watching. Don't kill me. I was watching Dynasty, and
I don't even know what that is.
The TV show, and one of the characters had on this amazing suit. It's like African print, and I am one of those people that watch the television that looks at the clothes and then I'll Google like where they get stuff. And there's a website that says, all right, so-and-so from this show wore that. Oh, yeah, who wore that? I think is what it was. Right? So like, and so they had that suit and I Googled the hell out of this and I reached out to them. It's this woman who's from somewhere in Africa but lives in England. She designs, you know, her clothes have like kind of like an African print vibe, and this stuff is really cool. I'm you know, I love to work with her. So I was just like, that's like, that would be one of those ones like, yeah, I got that.
So you reached out to her?
Of course.
Did it work out?
I haven't heard back yet.
Okay.
So, but like, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, people might not like it, but it was something that appealed to me. I was just like, I like that, you know? So, you know, you see that I look at what everybody's wearing. I look at like what they're showing, you know, I look at like Empire's another, I look at what the clothes that they're wearing, you know.
You seriously love fashion. Like you're actually thinking what they're wearing, how they're dressed, who made that. Like, I want to know it.
Dude, let me tell you, when I went to see, what was it? One of the James Bond movies.
Yeah.
I went with like 3 of my friends and they were kicking me the whole time. I'm like, dude, did you see that suit he's wearing? I'm like,
just ask
holy
Greg.
crap, that suit. I knew exactly what it was. I'm like, look at those boots. You know, they're just like.
You gotta think like to dress James Bond, that has to be the best.
I was just like, God, look at those clothes. Look at that. And I went home and I Googled all that stuff. I'm like, I just want to know.
He's wearing some nice shit.
You know, so you just look at that. You can just kind of tell, you know. I remember sitting and watching The Sixth Sense, that movie, and I'm like, he's dead. Oh, spoiler alert. But and they're like, how did you figure it out? I'm like, he hasn't changed clothes the entire movie, and it's just something that I always say. I'm like, oh, they've had that on. You know, I tend to notice that, but where other people wouldn't. But that's just kind of what I get.
I'm gonna switch gears here a little bit. What do you think is like the current state of like blogging and influencing in general in Washington DC? Like, are we getting closer to competing with New York? Are we getting some more recognition? Does it still need a lot of help? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, and like it seems like something you're very driven to do. You know, shine some light on it.
I don't know. I think one of the things is people always see New York or LA as like, I need to go there. I need to be there. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily feel that that's the case.
Really?
No, I think that there are a lot of, even though there are not a lot of big brands here in DC, there's a lot you can work with. There's a lot you can make your own influence. There's a lot of people that are newer and you can showcase that, you know, I mean, if you think about those larger markets, there's thousands of people that do the same thing. So what sets you apart unless you're like the best looking or you best, I don't know. I just think it's so much harder. So why not be
so like the blogging market's like oversaturated?
Yeah,
in a
I
place
think
like
it
New
can
York?
be. I have a friend in North Carolina. He's like, dude, I'm the only guy. They send me everything all the time. I get it. And
He's
like,
killing it.
And I mean, his stuff is good, and he's hilarious, and But so I was just like, okay, so why don't we take a look at both aspects? Whether you're not the only person, or you're not overly saturated, and then build a community of people together. I think there's a lot of growth and there's a lot of potential.
So you're saying that
DC, oh yeah,
someone could start their thing tomorrow.
I don't know about that.
Really? So you're saying it might be like a waste of time?
I don't know. I mean, if it's your passion, then I say do it. But I think that there's so much stuff that goes behind posting a picture besides just posting a picture. So, I mean, let's say you post a picture, the best picture you ever did. It's amazing photography. It's everything. And like, who's going to see it? How's that going to get seen? I mean, unless it's the egg, but, so it's hard to break through all that noise. That's a hard thing.
How do you break through on Instagram as an influencer?
So, I mean, there's all those games that people do that
how do you
crappy
do it?
Stuff between follow and unfollow, which I don't do.
Oh God, follow and follow is the bane of my existence, dude. I used to be, I'm still against that. I hate people who do that.
It's just, this is ridiculous. So I'll honestly say it. So when I first started and I started getting numbers and it was growing, I'm like, I just want to hit 10,000. I'm like, I'm not going to buy followers. So I didn't.
Look, I respect the hustle. I do respect the hustle, but at the same time, I hate it.
No, I did. I got this company that did the follow and unfollow stuff, and I did it for like a month. I'm like, all right, I got a huge numbers. I hit the 10,000 mark, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is great. But then I like to kind of look at my feed, and I'm just like, oh my God, I would never follow this. I don't like this. I just don't want to do that. And so then it took me like, I don't know, maybe 2 months to get them to stop. I'm like, look, I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to do it. I just don't like it. They're like, but you're getting followers. I'm like, yeah, but they're following and unfollowing. It's just not.
Yeah, it's interesting that you actually like said that you did that. Like it was that at a time when it was kind of like, okay, before it was really shunned upon or something?
I was probably shunned upon then, but I was just trying to get my numbers up. And, I think there's a lot of ways that people are doing it. They'll never ever admit it. I mean, you look at some of these pictures, and I'm just like, how is this picture getting this much activity? That picture's not that good. My picture's, and of course I'm like, my picture's amazing. It should be getting like millions of likes, but that's just not the case. So how do you break through? You're using the hashtag strategies, you're using all that stuff, but still.
How do you think you break through these days through all the noise?
It's getting eyes on it. So, I do like a couple of engagement pods, I try that, have people, so like get some looks at it right away.
What's an engagement pod?
So you have you post up a picture and, they say, the infamous they, if you get eyes on your picture right away and likes and comments and stuff like that, it forces the algorithm, the mystery algorithm to get that picture up, and
it'll promote you more and more in people's feeds.
So like that, I do that. I try to look at my feed and who I'm looking at, who's liking my stuff, and I kind of like look at theirs and,
see what they're doing.
I mean, but I can't follow. I just can't follow. If I have 20,000 followers, I can't follow 20,000 people. I follow the ones that I like, or like I've kind of built a personal relationship with. I mean, I still have some that I probably should remove, but I'm also lazy. So
I've been hearing a lot of complaints about like people are saying that the organic reach in Instagram is declining. How do you feel about that?
I think it is. I think it's hard. I mean, people, I don't even think a lot of times people aren't even reading what you post. I mean, I see sometimes when I write my comments, because I try to be thoughtful about my comments, and my comment might be, I don't know, today is National Something Day and we're looking at this, and the comment I'm like, cool outfit, dude. You know what I mean? So they're not they're not reading it. Versus like, oh, I hear what you're saying and stuff like that. So I try to put some thought in, but then other people, you know, they're going to post a picture and it's going to be some quote of the day, which just annoys me sometimes. It's
all
just
like altruistic and like,
and I'm just like,
be kind to everybody.
And then it's a picture that, you know, like it's a picture of a girl in a bikini. You know what I mean? I'm just like, what are you saying? What are you, you know, it's that, you know, that thirsty picture, you know? And so,
Which works.
It does work. You know, if I look like that, my shirt would be off 24/7. And
if I had some double D's, I'd be rocking. I'd be rocking them the 10K followers. Shit.
Exactly. You know, so, but you have to, it's ultimately what you want to do out of it. My goal is that I just want to put out content that I think people are interested in and maybe teach here and there and maybe showcase a little bit of my stuff, you know, do a stupid
Do you pay
story.
for a lot of promotions for your posts?
No. One, I can't afford it. And I'm like, why would I want to do that? I mean, I've done, you know, I've done some of those loop giveaway things, which are interesting. I mean, but they'll fall off after time.
I mean, I'm not surprised that like you've tried a lot of the things under the sun, being that you've been in it so long. Like when it first comes along, you're probably one of the first people to like, you know, be in like a pod where you know a bunch of people comment or like do the loop giveaways.
Yeah, I mean, the girls do it all the time, and you know
that shit looks like it works.
Yeah,
but I guess the problem is that like you get a bunch of followers that aren't necessarily real and care about you. Right. And then doesn't that affect like how brands perceive you? Or are they just
sure? I mean, you know, you got 40,000 followers, like you said earlier.
Yeah,
40,000 followers. You got 3 likes and a comment.
Are brands measuring that?
The savvy ones are. Oh yeah. I did a campaign for I don't know, like a razor or something like that, and like, we want you in our campaign, and it was basically for the razor, but for some sort of convenience store out in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And I wrote them back. I'm like, I can't do it because we don't have these stores in the DC area. And they're like, oh yeah, but you have some following out here. They know exactly what my following was. And I knew why I had it because the bank that I work for has branches out there. So I know everybody at work follows me. So.
You didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Well, I figured that part. I'm like, well, why would it be in Ohio? But that makes sense.
So did you do it?
Yeah, I did it. Because
what'd they give you?
It was a paid campaign. So it was a paid campaign to use their razor.
Like $5,000.
It was $1 million. So,
like between $1,000 and $5,000. But we're just guesstimating here.
It was between $1,000 and $5,000. Sure. Yeah.
Damn. I'd shave my ass with that razor. Jesus.
I don't know. Like,
I was probably not enough hair there anyways.
Now I got that stupid image.
Actually, my girl did tell me I have a hairy butt. That was kind of annoying. Let's not go
some
there.
People like that. She might have liked it. So it could be good.
What kind of razor is this again?
Yeah, I mean, but I think sometimes no amount of money can make you endorse a product because people will call you out in a second. I did 2 campaigns that I'm not gonna say. One of them was for this bag that I said here. It was when I first started out. It was one of my first paid campaigns. I'm like, I'll do it for this much money. And at the time, I was like, oh, that's a lot of money for me. That'd be great. And I didn't hear back from him. It was like the first time I was going to get money. And so I don't hear back from him. I'm like, oh, no big deal. You know, it was worth a shot. It was my first try. I didn't know what I was doing. And then maybe about a couple months later, like, yes. And they had sent money, like sent me a check. Mind you, I hadn't seen the product yet. So the product, it wasn't my thing. And I was just like, but I want the cash. So I made it work. And a couple people were like, you would never really carry this bag, you know? So it's just like,
they can see it.
They call you back. And then I did another grooming product thing. And like, how does this really work? And I'm like, well, this is how it worked for me. And that's what, you know, and I said, and the company was a pain in the ass to work for. They're like, I shot a great artistic, you know, editorial picture. They wanted something stupid. Oh. You know, just like, you know, and that's the other thing. It's just like you have creativity, but sometimes it's not too much. I shot something for Calvin Klein.
Nice.
And they wanted me a picture of my underwear. I'm like, God, I don't want to do that.
Of course, it's Calvin Klein. They want that.
Yeah,
they want
but
that Bieber
my
pic.
picture was, and both of the pictures are up. My picture was me pulling my underwear up, so you see my legs. So it's really cool. They said it was too risque, and I'm just like, do you guys know what you show on a normal basis?
Like, Calvin Klein, are you serious?
No, we want you. And if you look at the picture, it's like we want a picture of you drinking coffee or juice in your kitchen. I'm like, First of all, I never do that. I'm like, I'm dressed when I come down the stairs. So, but I put that picture up because they paid me. But like now I know, like, no, I'm not going to do that.
It's like I imagine that every post you do and every event you go to, you're getting paid to be there.
Not all the time, because sometimes you want to go to stuff.
That's true.
But I do look at what you have to look at two things. So you get invited to some stuff, and you get invited to a lot of things. And not that I say that I do.
Yeah. How do you differentiate? Like how many? Like I'm curious.
You look at like. So let's say there's a couple events a night. You can't go to everything because you'll just wear yourself out. Mm-hmm. And then you have to think that if you say yes and don't show, then that's kind of disrespectful because
of course you want to do that.
They budgeted for whatever, either paying a caterer, whatever they're doing, or, stuff like that. So you have to think about like what are you getting out of it? Why do you want to attend? Is it something you really want to go to? So that's one thing. Sometimes it's to be paid to show up, which is fine. And
that sounds great, by the way.
And I'll do that. But you also have to, sometimes they're like, oh, we'd like you to come to this event. But if you come to this event, you have to put up an Instagram picture, you have to put up a story, you have to do this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if it's an opening of a restaurant and I haven't tasted your food yet. If I like it, why would I want to do that?
Why am I going to validate you when I don't even like your shit?
So you kind of have to think about all that stuff.
How many events do you go to in a week? Like Monday through Sunday? How many, like it's like a normal amount of events you go to?
It depends on the week. So like last week, I think I went to something every night except Friday.
Yeah, were you going to multiple things a night too?
Maybe a couple of them I went, maybe two, but usually now it's just one. And now I'm like, trust me, I like being home and watching my Netflix.
You got to be built for that though. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like that's some serious dedication, dude. You're going out every night. I know I could not do that.
So, but I also build myself as like the guy around town, the man about DC, and I want to showcase the best things, the good things that are happening around DC. So I think there's a lot of things, and I look at it as from 2 points of view. I look at it as one, as a lot of people can't or don't have the ability to go do that. So like, why don't they show what's happening in DC and always show DC in a positive light? And then, or it's because it's something that maybe people should go out and check out. And so, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. So like, I'll have on my, whatever, my suit or whatever, I'm going to this event to check it out, to show like, DC is fun. It's not all politics. It's not all, like that acrimony that most people see. So if it's like, oh,
like we can't dress well either.
We can't dress, and we're all fighting over whether we're building a wall or not. I don't get into a lot of politics and stuff like on my stuff because it's an Instagram account. I don't either. So, I'm going to show pictures and show fun events and people having fun and, stuff like that. I did put, for International Women's Day, I was at an event and I took a picture with some amazing women. We were having a ball. And so I'm just like, okay, this is perfect for that. So it's stuff like that. And I think that kind of when I kind of
almost like it's like your duty to do these things. Like you've taken it upon your shoulders, like, look guys, like DC is not this gray place that is just Donald Trump's like home. It's like, no, it's like there's the city's vibrant. There's things going on. Like it's not just.
And it's also about supporting your friends too. So, I mean, a lot of the events that I'll go to, I don't have any skin in the game. I'm going because I want to support a friend. So I'm going to one later today because my friend Corey's doing something at Nordstrom's and I want to go support him. Last night, my friend Chris did something because he did a pop-up. I'm like, I was sitting on the couch and I'm like, I have to go support him. It's a Friday. Friday is like, I'm staying home. I'm not going out.
But you're also that dude. You're built for that, man. You're built for socializing.
But I have to go and support. I want my friends to do well. I want them.
It means a lot too.
It's just like, dude, you got this. They're really excited. Like sometimes I can't go because of stuff, but if I can do it, my whole thing is if I can go support a friend, I'm going to go do it. I want people to succeed. So that's kind of my thing.
I mean, that's the only way anyone DC's gonna come up is the support.
Yeah. It's just like, you can't be, especially if you're a DC person, you can't, and you're pushing stuff in DC, you have to support your DC people.
100% agree.
Yep.
No, I mean, I want a lot for DC too. And a lot of times it's discouraging for me. And don't worry, I'm looking at my notes just in case.
Why are you discouraged?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm in a different field than you, man. So like I'm in photography and I want to do fashion photography. Like I want to work with big brands and stuff. So for me, it's easy to get discouraged, but there is a lot of value in working with smaller brands and helping lift them up.
Right.
They just can't pay me that much.
Right.
That's the problem. And so but in the same light, it's like, I think there's a common thread with a lot of creatives and guests like yourself I have on the show is that we're always trying to validate DC.
Right, of course.
Like we're always like in New York and LA, they don't need to validate shit. They're just like, we're cool. We know it. What's up?
This is our rate. Yeah.
But at DC, it's like, there's always the extra pressure of like, no, we are cool. We are creative. Like we are taking things to the next level. It's like we're always trying to prove it to, and I don't even know to who. Like when are we waiting for like the New Yorker to be like, DC is cool? Like, what are we doing this? Like,
I mean, I think about some smaller brands. You think about like Hue and Cry that does shirting.
Love those guys.
And so like they don't have big advertising budgets, but so how can they succeed? So what they do is like they call the DC boys. We'll do a shoot, and you know that's going to help everybody out. Mm-hmm. They get content, the guys get content, stuff like that. They're plus these guys, well-dressed guys, are promoting their stuff. So that's ultimately going to convert to sales or at least some knowledge to them. So it's things like that. And so who knows, like maybe somebody will say, oh, I like this guy, maybe I'll pick him up for another brand. Or on the brand side, it's like, oh, maybe we'll carry them somewhere. You know what I mean? So I think that there's those type of opportunities. And I think, it's not like I'm a person on the scene. I do this, and all of a sudden I'm working with Ralph Lauren, J. Crew, and all these big brands because I'm just some guy from DC. So why don't I talk about what I know about, talk about some new things, and grow that way as opposed to when I first started, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna work with all these big people, or I'm going to Fashion Week. I'm getting into the Ralph Lauren show, but that stuff doesn't happen. And what happens is you get invited to things, or you get seen things you've never ever seen before, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, this stuff is really cool. I should tell people about it.
Around DC,
around DC, around anything. I mean, I went to this convention, and it's just stupid. This guy I never heard of him, had these belts. The belts were amazing. It's like Anson belts. They're not like a typical belt. It's got like in the back, it's got a track, so it adjusts to like. You can be like any size.
Oh,
they are really, really cool belts.
And that was just like a private maker out of DC.
This guy's out of, I think, North Carolina, but like it's stuff
Whatever.
like that. There's a leather guy who makes stuff, and you just find that stuff, and you can excel at that stuff. And
so is that our unique value play is showing this individuality, like this uniqueness that isn't major corporate driven?
I mean, I think it'd be a combination of both. I think it depends on what you're going to do. I mean, like everybody has their own stick, so am I going to be
but also because you are the DC guy, right? Do big brands not want to work with you? Like
no, because I'm about to work with one. So,
nice. Okay, cool.
But luckily they have a presence in DC, and
because you mentioned earlier that like they were like, oh, you're a DC blogger. We don't affiliate with them.
But now that they're doing like the one that I'm about to work with, they actually came to me.
You got the upper hand there.
So it's I don't know how much upper hand because they're still big.
Yeah, right.
But so that's kind of cool. So, but it's a global market, and so
it's true.
Where do you shop? I shop. I'll tell you the truth. I shop a lot online too because there's something I want. There's a couple brands. There's a brand I'm obsessed with, and David Hart. It's out of New York. And it's a little pricey, I always scour Amazon for the good sales and stuff like that. I mean, I love that stuff. And every time they post something like, you should be in DC, I send them direct messages all the time. Like, you should be in DC, maybe one day somebody will pick them up and do it. There used to be a store that shut down maybe last summer, summer before last, that I loved. It was called Whiskey Ginger. And it was on U Street. And his whole thing was to carry, not necessarily DC brands, but brands that you hadn't really heard of, but it was the only place you could find it in DC. So like,
that's gotta be hard.
It was really, really cool. Like I had a suit, I still wear it all the time. It's and they ultimately went up as like Moods of Norway, which it was amazing, made great stuff. And, like things that you can't find.
Isn't Shop Made in DC doing that now?
Mostly, but it's everything that's made in the area. So like if you look at like my buddy Chris was selling some stuff there. His pop-up I went to last night.
Yeah, Chris Cardi.
Yeah, so that's where I was last night. I went to go support him, but he's got some stuff that's doing really well there, and dude's hustling,
No,
so,
I'm a close friend of his too. Now. I've been to a lot of his pop-ups up at the Smith and just supporting him in his H Street. His dedication to a single street is impressive.
I'm just like, kill it, So it's weird because like I have a different vibe than he does. So like a lot of the stuff doesn't fit for me, but a couple things do. And, if I can be support and so I have another blog too, which is, Men's Life DC. So I do a lot of things that if I'm not going to really talk about it, but it's kind of got some sort of DC push, I'm going to put it there. So that way I'm not in the picture, thank God. Cause my face doesn't need to be everywhere, and I'm going to like support like local stuff or brands.
Have you ever thought of like doing like making video content behind all this stuff that you do?
Yes. I have one that I never put out. Have two, like the Celebrity Cruise is going to be a video content. I've shot it all, but my thing is I can control an Instagram picture. I can, even if the photographer sends back something that I don't sort of like the way they've edited, I can edit it and make it look to my aesthetic. So I have enough control, or I have just enough knowledge to be dangerous. Video, I don't feel that way. So for the skin thing that I did, I shot video. So it's just like part of it is like, God, I got to put that together now. Now for an Insta story, I'm a master. I can do that in a second.
Yeah, anyone's cool for 15 seconds.
So I mean, it's going to be a story, and I have some apps that I use to do that. But like on a video production scale, people are like, oh, you need to use iMovie, you need to use Final Cut. I'm like, good God, that's just another thing.
Like what if you had someone, like you just got one of your blogger friends, like it was like a busy day for you. It's like a really fun, busy day for you, right? They just followed you with a camera, and you didn't edit it. They edited it. Wow. And they edited your day. And I was like, yo, like you ever thought about doing something like that?
I did that.
You did?
I did it.
That's really cool.
It's not on my, it all went through Story, I believe. I did it for Capital File. So I did a day at Capital File, and I did my own, which I did as a story. I think it's probably still up on my, like in my highlights. So I have done that. They wanted to showcase me, what the good stuff around City Center, which was amazing. We went to like all the restaurants. I showed around the stores that I like to shop in. If I had a little.
Wait, this is all in the story and stuff, or? But they had someone following to the camera.
The whole thing. Yep.
Yeah, we all wish we could shop at City Center, man.
Oh my God.
People don't know City Center is like the bougie, Gucci, Dior, Hermes, David Yurman. Like it's just like a block of all that shit.
Yeah. It's our like, all that stuff moved up from Chevy Chase, and it was
That's interesting.
Cool.
I'm gonna check that out. That sounds really cool.
It was pretty fun. It's really nice. I mean, like when I first got my first job, I had no money. I had one suit, maybe a suit and a half, and I got all my clothes at Benetton because I was like Benetton size, and I had to wear suits, and they were affordable, and they had amazing sales. But someone's like, well, if you just get a tie, you can make your look different. So I would save my paycheck, and every paycheck I buy a tie at Hugo Boss. And
how many ties do you own right now?
So this is a long time ago. All those ties are gone. But like, so like, and everybody was like, oh wow, you have a different suit, it's like just a tie. And at the time I remember the ties were $80 ties, and they were expensive. I wasn't making that much money. And I was like, oh my God, this is so expensive, but I'll have all these ties. And so I did that. And so I've been pretty loyal to Hugo Boss. And so like when Hugo Boss moved to City Center, I'm just like, okay, that's cool.
Nice.
But I will say they were really cool to me, because when I wore the hell out of those Benetton suits and like ripped the crotches out and all that stuff. You can only get them fixed so many times. Trust me, I've done all that stuff. I wanted to go buy a suit, and I walked into Hugo Boss, and the suit was like, I don't know, $1,000. I wasn't making that much money. And
it's a lot for a suit. Well, not really, actually. Sorry.
They're like, okay, they're going on sale. So I think it went down to like $500, and they knew I had been in there all the time. And so they cut me some ridiculous deal. I think I paid like maybe $350 for that suit.
Nice, dude.
It was a lot of money for me at the time. And I'm just like, oh my God, and so like, it's stuff like that. Like I'm sort of loyal to Hugo Boss. Like
that's cool. That's how they should treat you. Like I think these brands gets too much to the head, but they should know that you are a huge patron, and that like you're like almost a rep for them, like, and they should take care of you sometime. They should definitely like, yo, come on, just come get a suit, bro. Like we love you. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think there's some local stores that do that. There's a watch company that went out of business. Like when I bought my first watch that wasn't like a Timex or something like that. I wanted this watch.
It wasn't a Timex.
I like Timexes.
You mean an expensive watch?
I wanted a Raymond wheel watch. I follow. It's the same thing, and I would go in like every day during lunch, and I was like trying
looking
all these
at
watches. And I'll never forget, I tried on this Cartier watch once, and I'm like, how much is this watch? And they put it on, and she's like, oh, it's $7,000. I'm like, can you take it off my wrist? And I'm like, I don't want to break it. I don't want to scratch it. And
it's crazy.
So I found this watch. It was a Raymond wheel. I think it was around $1,200, and it was so expensive for me. And I'm like, I can't afford this. And they had a sale, and the woman knew because I had been in there almost every day. I think she sold it to me for like it wasn't a newer model or anything. She sold it to me for less than like about $200.
Dude, can I ask you a question? What is it about fashion and like wearing clothes that you're really drawn to? Like it seems like you seriously have like an actual love for it. Like you love the design, the details, all that stuff. Like what is it about it that you just gravitate so much to it?
Well, since I don't have a six pack and I can't walk around with my shirt all day, I can cover it up with good clothes. No, I like it. I mean, I don't have the talent to design it, and I don't have the desire to be like, like Greg does, like passion to sell it. I don't have that, like, buy this suit and stuff like that. I mean, I'm happy to.
No, but like, does fashion do something for you? Like, is there like,
does it feel good? It's like, all right, I know I like this put together. You know what I mean? And I feel conscious if I didn't dress for certain things. I just feel that way. Like you won't see me unless it's emergency and I have to go to the store to get like medicine or something like that. You're not gonna see me out in sweats and stuff like that unless I'm going to the gym. But yeah, it's just not my thing. You know, it's easy to put on a suit because for me, it's just like, okay, I don't have to think about it.
Where did it come from? Where did this love come from? Did you have like a super stylish grandfather growing up or something like that?
A couple things. Well, my mom she's amazing. She's always really pretty stylish. She'd always dress, and she has these quirky things about shopping and stuff like that. She would be like, count the number of things on the rack. If there's a whole bunch of them, just think how many people have that. Don't buy it. And so like, I remember I came home from school one day and I'm like, oh my God, my homeroom teacher had on your dress. My mom would put that dress in the Goodwill bag that same night.
Wow.
And so my mom's funny that way. And she always would say, never wear cheap shoes because you'll ruin your feet. So I was pretty conscious about the type of shoes. And then my dad was stylish and didn't really care about what it was, but he had some investment pieces, and he had he like a fanatic about taking care of his stuff. You know, all his shoes and shoe trees. Every Saturday he would polish them. I would like wear his shoes when I got bigger enough to steal them all week and then put them back in his closet so he'd polish them. He knew I wore them, so stuff like that. And he never wore the same ones twice. And like, if he wore this dress shoe this day, he wouldn't wear it the next day. It would be something else. And so that kind of gave me...
Your mom sounds like quite the character.
Oh, she's amazing. I've
never heard that. Look how many there are. If there's too many.
Count the number on the rack. If there's too many, don't buy it. And then I found a GQ
quirky
magazine, and I'm just like, oh my God, look at these clothes. I'll never forget. I was just like, oh, and I'll never forget. I was like in 7-Eleven or something, picked up a GQ magazine. I'm like, look at these stylish guys. They're really, really cool. Subscribed to that. And I was just like, okay, that's it. And I just didn't feel like I had the talent to like, I have no desire to like design stuff. Forget it. I'll watch Project One Way every day, but I can't do that. But I can put together, I think I can put together stuff that looks half decent, and I have my own quirky style sometimes, So I still get, I go to church on Sundays with my mom, and she's like, oh, I don't like what you have on. I'm like, well, Mom,
it seems like cool. She's like a very key person in your fashion development. Oh, yeah. Like everything.
I get it. I talk to her every day. She will. Awesome. She's like, I'm looking at your Instagram account. First of all, you post too much. Or she's like, I don't like what you have on today. I'm like, but Mom, everybody likes that. She's like, no, I don't like it. Don't wear it to church. That's
You go shopping with her?
No, no. I don't typically go shopping with anybody because I don't like salespeople to pull out clothes for me because unless I'm trying to find a size, because I don't want them to impart their thoughts on what I think I should like. I like to find it myself, and I don't like to go shopping with other people just because I'm just weird.
Yeah, but it seems like your love of fashion kind of came from your parents. Like you were around it. Like my dad never did that with shoes. My mom was never like that. Like that's very unique, dude.
Mm-hmm. My mother. It's funny because when I grew up, I grew up around here, but a lot of
what part around here?
Silver Spring.
Okay,
but a lot of the women in the neighborhood, the mothers and stuff, they never worked. They were all like, housewives and stuff. My mom worked.
Oh, wow.
And she, you know, I remember, and I go back talking about church because we always went to church on Sunday, and my mom would wear like a pantsuit, and all the women would talk about her. My mother was like, I don't care. You know, she's like, this is what I'm gonna wear, you know, stuff like that. And she was always really, really stylish. I found some modeling shots of my mom, so she will deny it till her dying day. But yeah, so she did a little modeling, and then my dad was just a dork who just took care of his stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned from that, and then I kind of went hyper on my own thing. You know, I probably have too many clothes. I'm trying to purge a little bit more. You know, Maria Kondo my house and do all that stuff.
Oh God, hey, does it provide you joy? If it doesn't bring you joy, then you need to get rid of it right now.
But sometimes it'll provide me joy at a later moment. That's
it's future joy, Marie.
It's future
Come on.
joy. Yes, exactly. You know, like this jacket, I'm like, I haven't worn in a while. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that. I think I'll wear this. So.
Do people ever call you metrosexual? You get that?
Well, I'm gay, so you know.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to like ask that question. I never.
So,
really.
but you know, but people know I'm just kind of like me, just whatever.
Okay.
You know, so it's just whatever.
I feel like gay dudes get a fashion pass. It's not fair.
No. Nope.
What do you mean, dude?
No.
Dude, literally this morning, me and my girl we're going somewhere, and we see this guy. He walks out of her apartment building every day, right? And he has this little tiny, little annoying, beautiful Beanie Baby looking dog. And today he was walking out with he busted out the white pants and the shoes and the jacket, and I was like, wow, this dude's really trying today. But then she's like, oh yeah, he's gay, and I was like, oh, it's okay.
No.
Like he got a pass all of a sudden for dressing the girl stupid.
No. I think I mean, I look at who I follow because that's I kind of get I get not necessarily what they have. I get some inspiration from them, and it's a mixture of people.
Right.
You know, like I talked about my buddy at Charlotte. Totally different from me, 100%. Like white dude, tattoos all over his head.
Yeah,
he's got a great funky style, but if he puts on a suit, it's really cool. Like I look at him, he's good. You know, I talked about my friend who's talks about body positivity. He's amazing. You know, I look at a lot of things. You get inspiration from everything because I'm not I'm only going to wear this brand. I'm only going to do this. You know, if I had the money, I do high. If I don't have the money, you do low. But you mix everything, and I want to be accessible. I mean, if you want to do high, I can tell you how to cheat and get some good stuff at good things, and that's what I want to do. I mean. You know, I get yelled at from some brands about that sometimes, you know.
Because you mix and match the high and low brands?
Some don't like that. Some don't like that.
But it's also because you're appealing to those DC sensibilities, I guess.
But, you know, if you're going to represent, I know that, like I said, some people only are high end all the time. But if someone wants to follow me and it's like, oh, I like your suit. It's a plaid suit. Where'd you get it? I'm like, well, I got it I didn't. But let's say I got it at Louis Vuitton. I don't know. That suit.
I wish for you. You
know, that suit could be like $5,000. So somebody's like, all right, I really like that style. Where can I go get it? Well, there's a knockoff at Zara. You know, you can kind of go, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I don't always feel bad about that sometimes, you know, because I think that it's better to get what you can afford better than.
Well, it's cool you're not elitist about it.
So I can't be. Now, shoes wise, I probably am, but.
It's a good thing. Well,
because I rather pay for shoes that I know that are going to last versus a pair that it's going to wear once and fall apart. And then if you're buying them 10 times, then you've ultimately paid for what the one pair would have cost you when you could have just gotten them polished and resold. You know, so
the few times I have paid a lot for a single item of clothing, it's always worth it.
Exactly. I mean, I have a couple things that are like that. Or you make friends with I made friends with the salesperson at Burberry who would tell me when stuff was going on sale. And he said, if you wait a couple of days, it goes to the outlet. And I made friends with a person at the outlet who said that if you wait a couple of days, it'll be 50% off. So one of my winter coats that was $2,000, I got for $400, and they still sell that coat. So
what a hustle.
So it's sometimes it's about sensibility versus, you know, so you can still get the high end stuff for
being smart about it. That's a little hack right there.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I've paid the full price for something.
If you really want it.
I bought and I'll tell you, I wanted one of those Louis Vuitton duffel bags.
Oh, those are so nice,
I wanted
man.
it. I'm doing it.
It's on Canal Street, New York. Paid $60, got one.
Oh, you got a fake one?
So I had a fake one.
Oh, snap.
Like I had it for like, I don't know, 2 weeks. The strap broke off of it, but it still looked good. And this is maybe about, it was before I was working where I work now. So it was at a different company and I got this bonus. I'm like, I'm going to buy it. So I put that bag on Craigslist. And I said, it's fake. The strap is broken. And I asked, I think, $100 or $150 for it. I know I only paid like $60.
But you told him it was fake. You weren't trying
I said, it's not real. I took pictures and stuff like that. That day I got like 4 or 5 offers. This one woman was like, I'm coming to get it now. I'm like, it was in the trunk of my car. I'm like, okay, fine.
What?
Girl popped up in her Mercedes and bought that bag for cash in a second. And I was like, go ahead. And then I got a real one. So I was just like, and let me tell you, that real one, somebody tried to jimmy the zipper. Louis Vuitton fixed it for free. Somebody tried to break the lock. They gave me another lock for free.
Wait, what do you mean, Jimmy the zipper and break the lock? What kind of a duffel bag is this?
It's like the keep all, the like duffel bag. It comes with, a zipper, like a not a duffel bag, like the Louis Vuitton bag. The big handle. It's just like a travel weekender bag.
Oh, like so you would like check it at an airplane or something.
So I had to check it once because,
and that's how it almost got Jimmy.
So I'm like.
Oh, so this is a big bag. I was thinking this was like a little like.
No, it's like this. It's like a weekender bag.
Ah, okay.
And they made me check it. I was salty, first of all, because you
don't want to check that.
It's gonna get lost, and like, oh, we promised. And in the time somebody tried to. The zipper.
Well, I just asked someone who just stolen the whole goddamn bag. I was like, why would they jimmy the lock on it?
That's probably somebody was watching him. So, but Louis Vuitton took care of it. They fixed it for free and they, gave me a lock. So, I'm kind of, if I could afford all that stuff, I'd be like, yeah, but I don't.
But that piece you will have forever. That piece you will pass on to whoever you want.
Probably like 10 years and it looks the same.
Well, dude, I feel like we should probably wrap up here soon because I got to go check out some places and it's already like 4 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, because I got to go support my buddy.
Yeah, for sure. And just real quick before we go, I'd like to ask this question to my guest.
Okay.
Don't worry, it's nothing crazy. What you're doing, I think a lot of people will really look up to it. Like it's very admirable. Like I know you don't see it's always hard to look at yourself, but like you're kind of the OG of the menswear fashion in DC. And I'm saying this from other people that I've heard it from. They always point to you. Do you have anything to say? Like, what would you say to people who, look at you as a blogger or people who want to be like a menswear blogger or want to be an influencer? Like, do you have anything to say to them? Like, it doesn't have to be inspirational or not. Like, it could even be just don't do it. But like, do you have anything to say to them that's like, like, I don't know, like any wisdom for them?
I would probably say this. I mean, I think if you really want to do it, you have to know what you're doing it for. I mean, if it's just to like get to the parties, get free crap, stuff like that, that might not be the wisest thing. I mean, if you want to do it, that's fine. If you really have a passion for it, you have to pick what you're passionate, what that aspect of that passion is. Mm-hmm. Is it sportswear? Is it shoes? Is it whatever that is? And that's what you have to focus on. I think a lot of people see what other people doing and just copy that, but if that's not you, then don't do it. Because you have a voice, people will look at you, because the world is so global now, somebody else is going to want to like that. You might all be like a sneakerhead that specializes, I don't know, in yellow sneakers. I don't know. And all of a sudden you find a community that does that, and if you become the expert, then everybody will want to know from that. So that's what I say to do it. Just know why you're doing it, and it's a lot of work, and content is king. So you always have to hustle, always.
But there is hope for someone who's just starting.
Yeah, maybe. And don't cheat.
Word, Barnette. Well, hey, if you just want to shout out your socials real quick, or if they want to check you out, where they should go.
Yeah. Pull out your phones right now. DC Fashion Fool on all platforms. Hit that and subscribe to my blog, and I tweet sometimes too. When internet and when everything goes down, Twitter still works.
Yeah.
So even though nobody follows me on it, but I know everybody will.
Word. Well, awesome, man. I appreciate you appreciate being on the show, man. It's been super fun.
All right.
We had some good stuff today, man. Word. Well, that's it, guys. That's The Angle. Peace.
Cool.
That's it. I just got to stop the recording.